Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's episode, I am in the cattle panel and I am trying to get all the things done. I'm almost finished with my initial plantings. So let me show you what I'm in the cattle panel getting into. I hope you guys don't get pushed around. I am in the cattle panel and behind you is the end of the cattle panel, and I have the frost blanket and the greenhouse plastic still up. I'm hopefully going to get this taken down this weekend, but the wind is blowing and it's moving this plastic and frost blanket. So hopefully you all don't get shifted around. So today I am going to attempt to plant as many of these blue Adirondack potatoes as I can. They have been sitting in the house. They are well chitted, and I need to get them in this garden like now. Sorry for looking over that way, guys. There are flies and stuff flying around, and y'all know how it is. They're relentless. So I have a container at my feet that I tried to grow. Actually, I didn't try. I did grow. I grew blue Adirondack potatoes as well as lima beans in this pot last year. So I am going to place these blue Adirondack potatoes back in this pot. I did not harvest the lima beans because I was trying to put nitrogen in the soil. I need to gather my bucket because I've got some stuff on the top of this pot that I need to get out of this pot before I can start putting potatoes in. So let me pan you all down and let's get started. I hope you all can see what you see in front of you now. This is my container. It's a plastic whiskey barrel. These were the tops or the stems of the lima beans. And I'm trying to see if I have any lima pods on here still. I tried to take all the lima pods off and place them in the front right here. The only reason why I did not harvest these lima beans is I was trying to put nitrogen in the soil, number one, and I only had a small pack of lima beans. They were old beans. I want to say the pack was from 2017. I did not know whether or not they would germinate. And so I was trying to see whether or not I could get them to grow and then harvest for another time. So what I'm doing is just cleaning off this top piece because this is all a mess. And you'll see that I've got some white in here. I put some bone meal and some blood meal in this container several weeks ago. And I do apologize if you all can see the greenhouse plastic. I tried to put my bucket over there to keep it from blowing in this way, but it is blowing, so you all can probably see it. I do apologize. So I need to clean off. These are just leaves from the lima beans and just the stems from the lima beans. So I need to clean this off. Normally I wouldn't pull the roots out, but as you can see, I think they've done their job. So I'm just going to clean this off. Now I'm not going to be throwing this away. I will be taking some of these leaves and putting them back in this pot as fertilizer. There are worms in this pot. I'm going to take these pods. I don't know if these pods actually have any limas in them. I might bump you all, so excuse me, I'm putting a pot behind you. I'm going to take these lima pods. They look really rough. Ugh, they look like they got some mold on them, y'all. Ugh. So I'm going to throw them into a pot behind you all to get them out of the way. Trying not to inhale any of the dust from the bone meal. Excuse me if you can hear me blowing. Trying to get that away from my face. Sorry about that. I think I bumped you. I don't have a mask on, which I should have, but I didn't grab it. All right, so this is what I'm working with. This is still wood chip. So I'm just going to see about just kind of moving it around like that. Kind of distribute a little bit of that into the soil and not breathe. So I'm going to move this out of the way just to take a look to see what's going on here. Now, this container has worms in it, and I know this container has worms in it because what I've been doing is if I move a container and I see worms on the ground, the purple worms that I know I've had in my containers because they came out of my vermicompost bin, I just distribute them around in the garden and put them in my pots. Now I've got something growing here that could be a bean. I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to try not to be too disruptive. Now what I'm probably going to do, I don't see any worms right now, so they could have all either gone down or gotten out of the pot, because when I moved this pot, I did see some more worms on the ground, and I've already put them in a pot back that way. So I'm just going to dig around, because these potatoes need to be, nope, I've got worms in here. I've got to be real careful. A lot of big, fat, juicy worms in here, which I'm loving to see. I'm loving to see that. So I'm just going to try and loosen up the soil a little bit. I need to move this out of the way. Now the potatoes need to go down probably, I'd say, halfway through this pot, because this is a pretty big pot. I'm not going to bury them all the way at the bottom. I'm going to bury them probably halfway, but I'm just trying to loosen up the soil. What I find is that when I have worms in my soil, and I really enjoy having my compost worms, not having to buy worm castings is just a fee I'm glad I don't have. I'm very thankful to Turf Therapy, who gave me my first composting worms, and I'm very thankful for that. So I don't have to buy worm castings. But what I've noticed is the worms, when they are really working in a pot, the soil will become very kind of thick, and you need to break it up with vermiculite and perlite. It gets really thick, kind of like a clay kind of soil. That's my experience in my garden. I don't know about anybody else. If you all experience that with your garden, put some information in the description box below. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you are a vermicomposter and you are putting worms in your containers. What does your soil look like? Because my soil is very thick. It can get kind of compacted with the worms if I don't take it out and refresh it and split that worm colony up. It gets very compacted. So as I have and I had sticks at the bottom, you all, I always start with a container that you do a hugelkultur method with, and this is probably one of those sticks from all the way down in the bottom. So I'm going to stick that stick all the way back down there. And now that I have kind of loosened up this soil a little bit, I'm going to put a little bit more bone meal in here. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you know that I make my own bone meal, but I needed a little more bone meal than I actually had. I only had a small amount of bones in the house. Ooh, I can see a worm over there. Hello. Ooh, freaked me out for a quick second. I wasn't expecting to see that. So I bought some bone meal, which is something that I told myself I really wasn't going to do, but I really want to give my garden the best possible shot it can have. Sorry about that. Don't want to inhale that. And so adding a little bone meal, this wind, my goodness, I'm going to have to go get my mask. Adding bone meal and blood meal to the garden this year, I felt was extremely important, because these containers that I have in my garden have been in my garden for the past 6 years. And this is, in some of them, the same soil that I've had for the past 6 years. And so even though I refresh the soil by putting fertilizer in the container, and this is a little blood meal, I want to hit it with a 1-2 punch. I want to get it good. Even though I use fertilizers, I really feel like it could use a little something extra. And I'm only going to do this in the spring and in the fall. And I'm going to continue on with all of the fertilizers that I have been making. I'm not going to make a habit of buying a bunch of fertilizers, but I was out of bones. I literally only have a small amount of bones in the house. and it was just not enough. So it's okay. I want to add that. It's okay if you have to buy fertilizer and you can't make it all, or you have to buy compost, you can't make it all. You have to do what you have to do. And I have increased my garden. This is the largest garden I have ever had, and it requires a lot of soil. I can't make it all. A lot of fertilizer. I have not been able to make it all, but I'm close. So now that we have that all mixed up, let me get my potatoes. Let me show you all what my potatoes look like. Now don't laugh. I'm a little embarrassed because these potatoes have been in this bag. I gave one of my bags to my sister, and this is my second bag. Look at these chits. They are ready to go. Now, I think one of my issues last year, even though this is a very large container, I kind of felt like maybe I might have put too many potatoes, but I don't know. These are not very large potatoes to start with. And so I'm not expecting a potato as big as my face. So I'm not altogether certain how many should go in the pot. I think that 5 would be adequate. And I'm trying to get a couple potatoes out without breaking any of these chits, because these chits are pretty long. And I'm having some difficulty, so you have to excuse me for taking such a long time. There we go. I think 5, I feel like 5 is not enough, because this is a huge pot. I feel like 5 is truly not enough because these potatoes are not very, very large. The blue Adirondack potatoes, I've never seen it in a very big blue Adirondack potato. So I'm trying to decide what do I want to do, because on the bag it says the height is 20 to 25 inches, depth is 4 to 6 inches, harvest late summer. Let's see, spacing is 12 to 15 inches. So I'm thinking maybe just 5, because I don't have a lot of room in this pot. I really don't. But I would hate to underplant. You know, that's my biggest fear, is underplanting. So let me think about it, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've given it some thought. I have decided to put 8 potatoes. No, wait a minute, that's not 8. 3, 6, 7, 8. Yes, it is. Hello. 8 potatoes in this container. That might be too many, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm not expecting to have potatoes as large as my hand, but I do not want to underplant this container because this is a large pot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down roughly between 4 to 6 inches as far as I can go with my hand. So let me show you all. And I've shown you the potatoes, but this is a potato, just like that. And I'm going to just dig down. And this soil is nice and light. That's why I dug it, because it's nice and light. So I'm going to actually put a little bit of bone meal in the hole as well. Potatoes are very healthy, very hearty. They love to eat. So I'm just going to place the potato in there, hopefully not breaking off any chits, just like so. And I'm going to go around this container and put in, hopefully I'm not hurting any worms, because that would bug me. But you got to do what you got to do. And I'm just going to place my potatoes in my container like that. Now, you're supposed to place your potatoes with the chits going upward. So that's what I am attempting to do. And I'm pushing it down just by pushing the potato itself, trying to avoid those chits. I want it to be seated on the soil. And so I'm going to do this. I'm going to speed it up, and I'll be right back. Now that I have seeded all of the potatoes, I'm just going to cover them over with this soil, just like that. Just like that. Now, I was going to take all the stuff that I took off the top and put it back on top of here. I may still just do that. I'm just going to push this on the top like this because this is wood chip breaking down just like so. Let me grab this bucket and see if I can get the rest of this in here. Sorry for knocking you all. I don't want to put the stems in here, but I do want to put the leaves. So I want that to break down. Just like that. Now what I'm going to also go do is I'm going to get some wood chip. And I'm going to put the wood chip on top of here so that this breaks down and feeds this pot. So that is all that I have for you all today. I have a whole bag left to plant. So I actually have to find some space because I don't know where to put these potatoes, in all honesty. I really do not. Let me find some space and let me finish planting potatoes. And that's all I have for you all today. I just wanted to show you me planting up potatoes. You've seen me plant potatoes before, but I just want to let you know that I still had some. I hadn't gotten around to them. These are late summer harvests, as you all can see, late summer harvest. So I still have plenty of time to get them in, which is why I'm doing it now. It looks like it's going to rain. It's gotten really dark, which is really strange. So I'm going to top this over with wood chip. I'm going to water this in, get it back in its position, and I hope to see you all either in the food forest or in the kitchen real soon. So before I say goodbye, hit me that thumbs up to tell me you like the video. Share the video, leave me a comment, and like I mentioned, I hope to see you either in my kitchen or my food forest real soon. And if you haven't started planting your potatoes, then you can. Get them in, guys. Get in as much as you can, as often as you can. So until next time, bye for now. I've got to find somewhere to put these potatoes because I don't have a clue.